In his first solo public appearance since Prince Andrew's name appeared in the Epstein documents, King Charles is beaming. Attending the Sunday morning church service at Sandringham in Norfolk on Sunday, King Charles was beaming. The monarch was spotted making his way to St. Mary Magdalene Church, looking toasty warm in his long tan winter coat. In addition, the 75-year-old was seen joking and conversing with families positioned behind the rope line, anticipating the king's arrival. He conversed with two small youngsters seated in a tiny Land Rover with the license plate DU1LL1AM in a heartwarming picture. Although Queen Camilla generally goes with Charles on church visits, his wife was not in the picture. Rather, Lady Susan Hussey, the former lady-in-waiting of Queen Elizabeth II, accompanied Charles. Later, before the Sunday service, he was observed being met by the Reverend Canon Dr. Paul Williams. It happened after numerous other members of the royal family, including King Charles and Queen Camilla, attended the customary church service on Christmas Day and New Year's Eve last week. Given that the late Queen frequently attended Sunday services when visiting the Sandringham estate, the king undoubtedly has a particular place in his heart for it. Charles hasn't been spotted since Prince Andrew's name appeared in U.S. court records involving Jeffrey Epstein until his most recent church visit. Over 100 names were listed in the publicly released records concerning the scandalized financier's alleged sexual assault, many of whom were not charged with any crimes. Prince Andrew was mentioned several times and charged with grabbing a woman's breast in 2001 in one of the documents. The Duke of York has continuously denied any misconduct, and Buckingham Palace has previously stated that the accusations are categorically untrue. Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre came to an out-of-court settlement in 2022 after the latter accused him of sexually abusing her when she was just 17 years old. Andrew refuted Giuffre's claims, stating he had never met her. In May 2020, Andrew announced his resignation from public positions due to backlash regarding his affiliation with Epstein. Subsequently, the prince lost both his HRA title and his military responsibilities in January 2022. King Charles, who is visiting Australia and New Zealand for the first time as a monarch, is expected to have an interesting year in 2024 despite the increasing focus on Prince Andrew's relationship with Epstein. According to reports, King Charles and Queen Camilla will pay Samoa a visit in October for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM. The Australian newspaper was informed by a government spokesman that the Prime Minister enjoys a warm relationship with the King and looks forward to welcoming His Majesty to Australia later this year, even though Buckingham Palace has not yet made an official announcement about the visit. The monarchy's worst crisis in decades is King Charles's popularity. In a concerning development for Britain's new sovereign King Charles III, anti-monarchical sentiment has surpassed that of the Princess Diana scandal. With Prince Andrew and the Jeffrey Epstein affair in the background, it seemed that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's shocking accusations against the royal family in 2021 set off a chain reaction of discontent among young people towards the British royal family. There has been little indication in the last 3 years that this trend would reverse itself and return to even greater severity. A Savanta survey conducted in November on behalf of the anti-monarchy advocacy group Republic revealed that 34% of British citizens supported a democratically elected head of state, while 52% supported a monarchy. But of those between the ages of 18 and 24, 49% preferred to do away with the royal family, while 36% preferred to keep the monarchy in place. Opinion leaders disagree on whether this portends a protracted crisis that might jeopardize the monarchy's survival, if those Gen Z royal skeptics would continue to oppose the monarchy into old age, or whether they will eventually fall in love with royal fairy tales once more. The fact that the royal family has weathered numerous crises in the past, including a decline in popularity in the years following Diana, is one reason in favor of a bright future for the family. Nothing may be taken for granted, though, since a closer look at historical statistics by Newsweek indicates that the November polling may be even worse than those earlier periods and affect a different segment of population. Then, the results of the polls. Charles enjoyed immense popularity in Britain until the 1990s, when it was revealed that he had an affair with Queen Camilla. Just before Princess Diana passed away in July 1997, an Ipsos poll revealed that only 39% of respondents thought Britain would be worse off without a royal family. This was the first low point for the monarchy as an institution. In comparison, this was a significant drop from the 1980s and early 1990s, when The Guardian reported that several ICM surveys yielded results for the identical issue that were higher than 70%. But in July 1997, a mere 12% of respondents said the UK would be better off without the royal family, and 43% said removing them would make no difference, indicating that the decline was primarily the result of apathy. After Diana died in a Paris automobile accident, the monarchy rebounded for a while, but it collapsed once more a few years later in 2000 when The Guardian reported that support for the royal family has fallen to its lowest level in modern times. According to an ICM survey conducted on behalf of the newspaper, only 44% of British citizens thought the nation would be worse off without the monarchy, with 29% responding "don't know." This time, however, there was a greater increase in those who opposed it, with between 25 and 30% saying that the monarchy would not be beneficial for Britain. The newspaper also reported that youth dissatisfaction was at a highest ever, with 40% of 18 to 24-year-olds believing that the country would be better off without the monarchy, compared to 24% who believed the opposite. The poorest British citizens, or social class D, were the ones who supported the idea the throne should pass directly to Prince William instead of Charles at the time, with 48% of them supporting the idea and 38% opposing it. But most of this opposition seemed to vanish when, in June 2000, an additional Ipsos poll addressed the more direct question of whether Britain should become a republic and abolish the monarchy. When asked in similar words, 70% supported the monarchy, while just 19% supported the United Kingdom's transition to a republic. According to The Guardian at the time, it is a growing indifference to the royal family rather than a rise in republicanism that is responsible for the spectacular slide in royal popularity. What the current polls indicate. Because polling agencies have been asking this more direct question, the picture is much bleaker now. However, other considerations suggest that the cause of the current decline in royal popularity may be significantly more complicated, making it more challenging to remedy. With 49% of Gen Z wishing to become a republic, age is still the element most likely to determine opposition to monarchy, but social status still plays a role. But whereas the working class initially mobilized opposition to Charles, wealthy British citizens from social class AB are now more split, with 43% favoring ending the monarchy and 45% supporting it. In contrast, 28% of D's socioeconomic class support republicanism, while 58% prefer to maintain the monarchy. A lot of it has to do with the scandal and changing attitudes around social issues and issues of social justice and historic justice, and that sort of thing, which has thrown a spotlight on the royals in relation to Prince Andrew and Harry and Meghan, said Graham Smith, chief executive of Republic, a pressure group pushing to abolish the monarchy, to Newsweek. I think the long-term trend of people losing interest has made it easier for people to turn against, and a lot of it is just about shifting attitudes. Younger and middle-class individuals are more inclined to take social justice and environmental issues seriously, as well as movements like Black Lives Matter, Me Too, and the environment. They simply cannot find themselves mirrored in the monarchy when they look at it. Examination. Charting the royal family's comeback in the 2000s is surprisingly simple because, according to an Ipsos poll conducted that April, social class D, who were most unhappy with Charles, were also the most enamored when Prince William married Kate Middleton in 2011. More than any other socioeconomic class, working-class Britons expressed interest in the wedding at 59%. The finality of the decision about Charles' adultery is one feature of the Charles and Diana tale that sets it apart from contemporary royal disputes. The nation supported Diana after the monarch, who was then the Prince of Wales, acknowledged having an affair on television. For a while, people lost interest in monarchy, but Kate and William gave them something new to get excited about, a new royal fairy tale.